cool, but we all get judged based on how we write. There are so many programs out there to help your kids learn how to write, and I think probably a lot of them are fabulous. I haven't tried very many of them. I'm just telling you, this is what has worked for me and my kids. So here's the deal. A lot of people get out of high school or even college and they don't know how to write. They don't really know how to organize their thoughts or put them on paper or say them in a way that's very persuasive. And the number one thing that I have seen that is super effective on teaching this is just getting on the internet. I have watched people that I know in high school were really not able to express themselves at all, write a blog, and they've become excellent communicators. You know, they put these beautiful pictures in there and they are very persuasive in how they write and they're very witty. And I think if you have something to say, you will get very good at communicating that. And if written word is the way that you feel most comfortable doing it, then you're going to do great at it. It's kind of like math. You may end up being an engineer and using it all the time, or maybe you won't use it very often. You'll just use it in some emails. It's okay. You need like a basic level of knowledge in it. And then if you really want to, you can pursue it and become really excellent in it beyond just that basic level. But you do have to get somewhat good at it to get through college. So this is an important skill to learn. So first off, you've got to break writing down into a couple of different sections, because it's not, we sort of put them all together and we say, just write, when in fact there are a couple things going on. You have the writing mechanics where you're actually forming the letters and it uses these muscles and you have to know the shapes, and it's a little bit of a challenge to learn how to form those. You have to know how to spell. And then we have the second part, which is asking our children to convey something that's inside of their heads. Just take these ideas that you have and bring them out. I feel like we expect just a lot out of our kids at a very young age in this area. They are actually able to do the mechanics of writing much before they're able to come up with ideas out of their head and speak them. I think they have those ideas in their head, but it can take a really long time to take those ideas and turn them into words. And I think let's just be patient with that. So when it comes to writing, I try to separate those two ideas. I try to do copy work, which is just the mechanics of writing, and have that be separate from the idea of telling stories, because those are two different parts of the brain and they're two different skills. So we do copy work while I am reading to my kids. I read for an hour every day. I just do a family read. And if you want to know what kind of books I read to them, I have another video on that. But for the first part of that, my kids will just do some copy work. They will just write it. And the reason I do it during reading time is because the act of writing can be very miserable. And I don't want them to learn to hate that. So if their minds can be very engaged in the story that's going forward, then the act of writing will become more automatic to them and it will just take the misery out of it. So that's when we work on the mechanics of writing. As far as telling stories, this is a part of the discussion that we do. When I read a story to them, I will ask them questions. What did you think about that? Why do you think he did that? Was that what you would do in that situation? And it just allows them to take all of the ideas that are in their head and start putting them into words, because I know they have just brilliant ideas, but it takes a while to take those ideas and really formulate them into sentences that are cohesive. And then it takes even longer than that to turn them into persuasive ideas. And I think we just need to be patient with that some kids are natural storytellers and they're naturally persuasive and they're naturally good with words, and other kids aren't. And that's okay. We're all going to be very different. It's okay if kids are not naturally excellent writers. Just give them lots of opportunities to tell you what they're thinking. And one of the things that we do as a part of our family culture is we actually tell stories at the dinner table. We will set a timer and give you 1 minute. I'll give them a subject and I'll say, you have to tell a story about clouds, but it needs to be fictional. It needs to be set in a fantasy land. Ready? Tell a story. And they've got 60 seconds to be able to just tell this beautiful story of whatever fairies live up there and are throwing down raindrops at us, or whatever they want to come up with. But there's no pressure. I'm not going to grade this. This isn't anything that they have to incorporate with the mechanics of writing. It's just that creative flow of ideas that really engages learning on that level. And I think that's so important to be able to do that before you start putting it on paper and saying, now we need to really smooth this out and make it so beautiful so that it works for everybody. It's not cool, but we all get judged based on how we write. And so you really want to be careful in teaching your kids, making sure that they understand how to write in a way that is not only persuasive and informative, but is going to give them the best shot at getting their idea across, because nobody's going to look at them and be like, you spelled that wrong. So you want to give them all the advantages you can when it comes to writing. I've just found that the best way to give those advantages is to separate the mechanics of writing from the creativity of writing until they're quite a bit older, and then you can put them together. If you'll do that, it can be a really powerful experience for them, and they can become excellent writers in all the great ideas that they have in their head. If you're having a hard time teaching your kids to write, or if it comes very naturally to you, you're still doing an amazing job at this. It's an important skill, and you're gonna nail it. Keep at it. You're doing a much better job than you think you are, and everything you're doing matters so, so much. Keep it up, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks.